Heartbreak at a festival in Canada, a potential bailout for American farmers, and a rare piece of Titanic history that just fetched nearly $400,000. And here's today's trivia question. Which animal has 3 hearts? You know, my sister is a veterinarian, so she would know, but do you? I'm going to tell you the answer at the end of the show. It's Monday, April 28th. Welcome to the Flyover Podcast. Welcome to the Flyover Podcast, taking you above the noise for an unbiased, high-altitude view of today's headlines with daily coverage that's honest and refreshing. Let's cruise the news and land the facts. Good morning. If we've never met before, hello. My name is Ayla Brown, your weekday host for the Flyover Podcast. Don't worry, you can breathe. The email edition of the Flyover isn't going anywhere. It'll land in your inbox every morning with the same great daily news coverage. But we wanted to provide another opportunity for everyone to be able to consume the news. So go ahead, drive to work, walk your dog, make a cup of coffee, because I'll be right here with you giving you the news of the day. Let's take off then with the 3 biggest headlines. We're starting today with some tragic news out of Canada. At least 11 people were killed and more than 20 others injured Saturday night after a driver plowed into crowds at a Filipino cultural festival in Vancouver. Police say the suspect, a 30-year-old man with known mental health issues, is now in custody, and they're confident this was not a terrorist attack. What had been a joyful, family-friendly celebration turned into a heartbreaking scene, with Vancouver's police chief calling it, quote, the darkest day in our city's history. Sadly, officials say the death toll could rise in the coming days. Switching gears to the economy now, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins said over the weekend that the Trump administration is preparing for a potential bailout of American farmers if global trade wars continue to hurt exports. Sales of key crops like soybeans and pork have dropped sharply, especially with tariffs impacting trade with China. Rollins said the administration is hoping they won't have to step in, but they're getting ready to just in case. And here's a fascinating piece of history that just sold for big money. A letter written aboard the Titanic by Colonel Archibald Gracie, one of the ship's most famous survivors. I'll tell you how he survived in a second. Just sold at auction for a whopping $399,000. That is way beyond the $75,000 estimate. Gracie wrote the letter on April 10th, 1912, the very day he boarded the Titanic. It shares his early impressions of the ship before tragedy struck just days later. Gracie survived the sinking by clinging to an overturned lifeboat and later wrote a detailed account of the disaster. It's an incredible piece of history that now has a new owner. Here's what's happening in the world of politics. Let's start with a new poll making headlines. President Trump's 100-day job approval rating is officially the lowest for any president in the past 80 years. That's according to a new ABC News, Washington Post, and Ipsos survey released over the weekend. The poll highlights the challenges Trump is facing early in his second term as economic pressures, global tensions, and domestic policy debates continue to dominate the news cycle. Meanwhile, former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel is stirring up political buzz. He's announced that he plans to run for office again, and that's fueling speculation he might set his sights on the Democratic nomination for president in 2028. Emanuel hasn't made anything official yet, but his announcement definitely adds an interesting name to the list of potential contenders. In other news out of Washington, an illegal immigrant has been arrested for stealing Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's purse. The theft happened while Noem was dining at a restaurant in D.C. last week. Authorities say the stolen purse contained her passport, ID, keys, medication, and about $3,000 in cash. And finally, President Trump is making new demands on the global stage. He's calling for all U.S. ships, both military and commercial, to have free passage through the Panama and Suez canals. The move comes amid growing concerns about China's influence over these critical waterways, and it's likely to add more tension to already complex international negotiations. We are brought to you by our sponsor, Picasso. Spencer Raskoff, Zillow's co-founder, helped build a $16 billion real estate giant, and now he is back with a brand new opportunity. He has launched Picasso, a co-ownership marketplace disrupting the $1.3 trillion vacation home market. With over $100 million in gross profits and big-name investors like SoftBank backing it, Picasso is scaling fast. Now, for just $2.80 a share, you can invest before it hits the public markets. Become a Picasso shareholder today. Visit invest.picasso.com to learn more and invest now, or click on the link in the description below. Still to come on the Flyover podcast, Wells Fargo has agreed to pay millions to customers, a prank call involving Shedeur Sanders, and I kid you not, handbags made out of the leather from a Tyrannosaurus Rex. All coming up. Here's a quick look at what's happening in the financial world today. First up, Camping World CEO Marcus Lemonis is making headlines after closing one of his RV dealerships in Greenville, North Carolina. The decision came after the city sued him over his massive American flag about the size of a basketball court and fined the company $15,000. Lemonis said he wasn't going to take it and decided to shut the dealership down altogether. Over in the financial world, Wells Fargo has agreed to pay $185 million to customers as part of a class action settlement. The lawsuit claimed the bank placed borrowers' mortgages into COVID-era forbearance programs without getting clear permission first, something that caused serious headaches for a lot of homeowners during the pandemic. And if you're thinking about traveling soon, here is some good news. Plane ticket prices actually dropped in March. Major airlines are pointing to weaker domestic travel demand, partly because of the ongoing global trade wars, making it a little cheaper to book those flights right now. Here's today's major sports headlines. Let's start with some big news out of the Premier League. Liverpool clinched the championship on Sunday with a dominant 5-1 win over Tottenham. With that victory, they've now tied Manchester United's all-time record of 20 league titles. Definitely a historic moment for Liverpool fans around the world. Switching gears to the NFL, officials are investigating a prank call that targeted former Colorado Buffaloes quarterback Shedeur Sanders during the NFL draft. Sanders had actually gone as far as buying a new cell phone with a private number only shared with NFL teams to avoid this kind of thing. But somehow, someone still managed to slip through. And in baseball news, the New York Yankees are shaking things up in their bullpen. They decided to pull star reliever Devin Williams from his closer role after a rough start to the season. Williams was one of their big offseason additions and has won the Hoffman Reliever of the Year award twice, so this move definitely raises some eyebrows. For more sports content and box scores, check out today's email edition of The Flyover. Not a subscriber? You can sign up for free right now at jointheflyover.com. Here's what's happening in science and technology. Starting off, after Pope Francis's passing, the Vatican confirmed that he underwent a process called the Praxis. It's a specialized embalming technique that helps slow down decomposition, allowing his body to lie in state for 3 days before his funeral, while thousands of mourners came to pay their respects. Meanwhile, in the fashion world, get ready for something straight out of science fiction. Handbags made from T-Rex leather are coming soon. Scientists have used recreated fossil DNA to manufacture a type of leather inspired by the iconic dinosaur. It's one of the boldest and, might I add, strangest innovations in the industry, especially that we've seen in a while. And speaking of innovation, NASA's Dragonfly mission just hit a major milestone. Dragonfly is a car-sized, nuclear-powered rotorcraft set to explore Saturn's moon, Titan. After passing a crucial design review, the mission is officially on track for a 2028 launch. Once there, Dragonfly will study Titan's surface to search for signs of past or even present life. Now it's time for the Rotator, our spotlight section that changes each day of the week. Since it's Monday, let's take a quick look at what's happening beyond our borders. First up, tensions between India and Pakistan have sharply escalated after a militant attack in Kashmir left 26 civilians dead. It's being called the worst diplomatic fallout between two nuclear-armed nations in years, and officials are warning that things get even more volatile in the days ahead. Meanwhile, Canada heads to the polls today for a pivotal federal election. The race is tight with the Liberals under Mark Carney and the Conservatives led by Pierre Poilievre locked in a dead heat. Big issues like Trump's ongoing trade war and the soaring cost of housing have dominated the campaign, and today's results could officially bring an end to more than a decade of Liberal rule. And over in London, Saudi billionaire and rally champion Yazid Mohammed Al-Raji made quite the entrance. He flew in his $2.5 million Bugatti and a custom Bentley SUV straight from Saudi Arabia, keeping up with the Gulf elite's tradition of showcasing their ultra-luxury cars in Europe to escape the brutal summer heat. Still to come on the Flyover Podcast, a poll about the Mondays, a trivia question about which animal has 3 hearts, and the First Lady celebrated a birthday over the weekend. How old did she turn? I'm going to tell you. Let's dive into today's Etc. stories, a few headlines you didn't even know you needed. First up, a tragic scene out of Myrtle Beach over the weekend. 1 person was killed and 11 others were injured after gunfire erupted late Saturday night on busy North Ocean Boulevard. Authorities are still investigating what led to the shooting. Meanwhile, the White House celebrated First Lady Melania Trump's 55th birthday on Saturday by posting a series of glamorous photos from her time in the role. The tribute highlighted some of her most memorable public appearances over the years. In Connecticut, a backyard playset got an unexpected visitor, a bear. A family in Simsbury caught the whole thing on video as the bear climbed up the playset and slid right down the children's slide. Needless to say, it was a wild ride in more ways than one. And finally, Baltimore has been named the dirtiest city in America, topping Sacramento, Charlotte, and Los Angeles. This ranking came from a new report analyzing over 12 million sanitation-related complaints across the country. It is time for yesterday's results and today's poll. So let's go over the question from yesterday. How do you handle voicemail? 58% of you said you listen and reply to it. 19% said you read the transcript and then you ignore. 13% said other. 6% of you pretended like I guess it never happened. And 4% panic and text back. I personally am one of those people that if someone calls me, I am listening to the voicemail, I'm looking at the transcript, I am calling back immediately. I don't know, maybe that's just my personality. What can I say? But here's today's poll question. What is your Monday motivation level? Is it high, ready to crush it? Medium, I'll get through. Low, send help. Or non-existent? I will say for me, this is my first Monday with all of you on the Flyover Podcast. So my motivation level is super high right now. I am so ready to crush it and finally ready to show all of you what we've been working so hard on behind the scenes. I'll read the results of that poll question tomorrow, though. So if you're not a Monday person, or maybe you are, head on over to jointheflyover.com to vote. It takes about 2 seconds. All right, you have made it to the fun part, the trivia question. What animal has 3 hearts? Were you thinking about it the entire time I was delivering the news? Well, the answer is octopuses have 3 hearts. 2 of them pump blood through their gills, and 1 of them pumps it through the rest of the body. And you want to know another fun fact? When they swim, their main heart actually stops beating, which is why they prefer crawling. So it's not just to be creepy, it's actually science. Who would have thought? Hope you learned something today. Thank you so much for being with me on our first Flyover podcast. I really hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you learned a few things and smiled a couple times too. You can find the Flyover podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere else you find podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe, share with a friend, a family member, maybe someone who loves octopuses. I'll see you tomorrow for some more coverage. Thanks for flying with us.